Hello my lovelies, and thank you so much for your patience with this video. You may be delighted or horrified to hear that this one will be a little bit chunkier with lore, because it's time to discuss some of the nuts and bolts, the culture and even the ethics within Golden Bone's world of alchemy and enchanting. Alchemists work with all manner of magical and mundane materials, creating anything from elixirs to poisons and gunpowder, and most notably the alchemical mixtures used for enchanting. Alchemists work so closely in the enchantment process, often taking on the role of both alchemist and enchanter, that in the world of Golden Bone the words are often used interchangeably, though this isn't always accurate, and some alchemists take great offence at being called enchanters, and vice versa. Some will even insist on cultural or role-specific titles, such as a runesmith or a botanical overseer. But to the layman, these terms are all immaterial. It is the magical outcome that is of most interest to them. While different cultures have many variations and approaches, all forms of enchanting have three main components: gold, will, and vitae. Because they are all vital, one can actually compensate for a lack of skill or resources in one part of this trifecta by doing excellent work or using excellent materials in the other areas. But first, in order to understand enchantment, one must first understand exactly what it is we are harnessing: magic. Magical energies exist in and around all living things, sentient or not, and react passively to the will of others. This energy is commonly known as magic or mana, as well as vitae when it is in a usable state. To the common person, though, these three terms are used more or less interchangeably, with many even referring to all forms of magic as vitae, though a trained alchemist may irritably beg to differ. Specialists do so love their technical terms, after all. Magic is normally unnoticeable, like a background radiation to the living world, with natural fluctuations and variances one would expect from such an unpredictable force. Ley lines, for example, are areas where there is a naturally higher concentration of magical energies, thought to form organically over time like veins around the planet. Some make a point of even building settlements and roads along these unusual channels, claiming to notice an adequate increase in the performance of certain enchantment and alchemical processes. Unusual magical anomalies can also occur in areas of high sentient population, such as cities or even the ruins of old civilizations, as well as rural areas with a large number of animals. This can include ghosts or other kinds of phantasms, which usually occur when something particularly emotive or impactful has occurred. Some claim them to be wandering souls, perhaps bound to that place, but many speculate they are more like imprints, flashes of a person's will stamped into the magical fabric of the world around them. In theory, one could encounter the ghost of their past self. Cities built upon ley lines, as you can imagine, feature an adequate mixture of positive magical benefits and highly unusual occurrences that are simply inherent to having so many thoughts and feelings in a high concentration area of magic. So what of enchanting and harnessing this magical energy? Let us go back to our trifecta of gold, will, and vitae. First comes the gold. Gold is the only known substance capable of absorbing and storing magic. Left alone and without any intervention, gold will ambiently absorb trace amounts of magic over time, though usually at a slow, undetectable rate. Larger amounts of gold can, by extension, hold greater vitae and produce more potent effects. However, people always try to be as sparing as possible in how much gold they use, meaning that the runework engraved is often incredibly small, requiring magnifying lenses such as a jeweler's loupe. So where does runework come in? Secondly, there is will. Will, as we established, grants enchantments their function. It is intent, an imprint of its creator's resolve absorbed into the gold via ambient magic, and the lengthiest part of the entire enchantment process. Over years of refinement and experimentation, according to alchemists, the most tried and true effective method of imbuing willpower is runework. Runesmiths spend hours, possibly days or weeks, depending on the scale of the project, slowly carving into the inlaid gold of an object, meditating over the contents whilst also leaving a clear record of how the enchantment operates. It is a process that simply cannot be rushed, as the art is as much thinking over what they are carving as the carving itself. Some people are inherently better at this part than others, due to one's personal will, mind and relationship with magic varying from person to person. Because magic reacts ambiently to intent, some runesmiths will even choose special plants such as ash, which has a calming effect, allowing them to stay solely focused on their work. No mortal being is near powerful enough to imbue will without this lengthy process. Runes, and the meditation that goes with them, must be highly specific. You must accurately define the parameters of the object the gold is inlaid on, how the user should interact with it, what effect you want it to have, how much you want it to obey the laws of physics or defy them, how you want the effect to trigger, how it should trigger in relation to the object it is engraved on, for how long, and so very much more. This also means that enchanted gold extracted from an object does not carry the enchantment over, and instead must be melted down and reused. This is because the highly specific enchantment will no longer match with what it is attached to. If it was on a specific sword, for example, the enchantment will, for want of a better term, be looking for that sword, and will be unable to find it. Runes vary from culture to culture, and even school to school, and exist purely as specially designed logographic languages. They are designed specifically around alchemy and enchanting, providing a shorthand way of conveying a lot of information in a more concise way. Many scholars like to compare their runic languages and variances they've designed, and of course, offer their unprompted feedback. Gold, once appropriately engraved, now has both a capacity to hold magic and a clear intent. All it then needs is a high concentration of magical energies, not normally found in nature, in order to power the desired effect and activate its magical properties. Next is the alchemical mixtures themselves, Vitae. This is the process where alchemists synthesize magic into a usable state, namely to be infused into gold. This step involves the synthesis of volatile and highly toxic chemicals. Nitric acid and hydrochloric acid must first be created in order to then make aqua regia. Gold is then dissolved into the aqua regia to create chlororic acid. Putting gold in this state makes it highly reactive, at which point it is able to rapidly absorb ambient magic. Living things can then be dissolved in vats of this stuff, rapidly absorbing their inherent magical properties. And it needs a lot, typically introduced to the vats in batches. As magic responds to willpower, ethical considerations and practical limitations dictate the use of dormant living organisms to avoid unpredictable results. In fact, there is an entire agricultural industry surrounding enchantment, with plants not bred to be especially edible or nutritious, but designed to grow big and grow fast and be easy to re-sow, all grown especially for dissolving in vats to make alchemical mixtures. Throughout the process, various alchemists like to introduce their own acids, formulae and powders, many highly toxic, and all designed to tweak or adjust the process in various ways. It may be to reduce the speed at which the content dissolves to allow for more thorough absorption, make synthesizing parts of the process less volatile, make parts less or more toxic or corrosive, or even change the viscosity or physical state of the final result. Many alchemists have their own name for their own personal final alchemical mixture, most in a liquid state but some in other forms, such as powders. But colloquially, the final substance is known as Vitae or a Vitae solution. The mixture is poured or rubbed into the gold, finalising the enchantment process. Whilst heirlooms may occasionally need topping up as their impact diminishes, enchanting is more or less at a point where almost everything, if done correctly, should last a minimum of a lifetime. A process and industry such as this one with such a huge impact on the world and culture, does not come without its quirks and risks. Sickness and injuries are common. Prolonged exposure to hazardous chemicals and mana-draining gold can lead to various illnesses or magical mutations among practitioners, underscoring the risks associated with mastering the arcane arts. Many people's understanding of protective equipment is not always what could be called advanced, certainly by our standards. In addition, physical injuries are not uncommon throughout the process. There's a lot that could go wrong. Potent effects may simply not work if they don't have enough power behind them, be it gold, alchemical mixture or will, which is a big problem if the object is designed to protect you in some way. Likewise, corrupted effects such as rune work done improperly or a tainted Vitae solution are highly dangerous and can have unpredictable results. On top of that, many workers are using large or dangerous machinery, some of which is enchanted in and of itself, be it a tool injury from harvesting the required plants, exposure to chemical compounds, or an explosively poor final result. There is no escaping there is an element of risk to the world of alchemy and its resulting enchantments. Despite all of these inherent dangers, being an alchemist is a prestigious and highly sought-after profession in the world of Gold and Bone, commanding respect and admiration from society. The culture of those that work in alchemy and enchanting is complex and varies widely from culture to culture. Alchemist and enchanting academies can be large or small. Some alchemists work independently. Some specialise in one specific part of the process, whereas others are all-rounders. Many are highly competitive with one another, snobbish or disparaging of others' techniques. And others are encouraging, simply passionate about the wonders of magic. There are too many variants on this practice to cover in one video, but these are the core principles at the heart of alchemy and enchanting. Many of you may be wondering how the mysterious ornata, those born with gold fused to their skeletons, will fit into this system. What happens when working with gold that does not behave the way gold logically should? How do their enchantments differ? Do they require rune work or other engraving? And how can one introduce such dangerous chemicals without killing the patient? Well, hopefully, we'll soon look at how these enigmatic people adhere to the rules of alchemy, how they break the known laws of what is possible, how they've caused a religious schism, and how they could possibly become enchanted themselves. And there we go, my lovelies, a little look into the mechanisms of alchemy and enchantment, less of a expositional lore dump and more of a quote-unquote sciencey lore dump, just so that we understand some of the rules we're working with in the world of Gold and Bone. I hope you enjoyed it. The beautiful names that you see on the screen right now are my Patreon supporters. They are the lovely shiny jewels I admire every day. The stunning work that you are seeing on the screen right now are the submissions from the Patreon exclusive Discord. We do monthly challenge over there. Last month's challenge was Video Killed the Radio Star, where everyone had to try and design their own interesting communication device, and I am blown away at the skill and creativity. If you want to join us/them, do consider supporting me on Patreon. It helps me so much. You get access to the Discord, behind the scenes content, some exclusive little stories and stuff I've written for Gold and Bone, all that good stuff, and also my undying appreciation. Feel free to let me know your thoughts on alchemy and enchantment and some of the questions it might bring up in the comments if you have the time. And speaking of time, my dears, I hopefully will see all of you next time.